Welcome to our brand new series, How To EDH. These videos are all about increasing our knowledge of the game and the cards we play. In today's episode of How To EDH, we're naming the best budget-based card draw outlets for each color. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more from this series, give it a like and subscribe to Common Command. The cards we'll be mentioning today are all under $5, some for as low as pennies, while others are closer to that restriction. It's also worth noting that a majority of the cards that I mentioned will be repeatable forms of draw that gain us a ton of value over the course of a game. Now let's start with the color that has card draw all but taken care of. Blue is widely known to draw cards, but some of the color staples like Rhystic Study and Mystic Remora have a price tag that some players just can't buy into. But Insight is an easy replacement for those expensive cards. For only $4, you get an enchantment that draws you a card each time an opponent plays a green spell. Green is a powerhouse color, and it's unlikely you'll enter a pod that doesn't have someone running it. Blue also has Ever-Watching Threshold that's sitting at 48 cents. It's another enchantment that nets you a card each combat when swung at. This card makes opponents think twice about swinging at you, and if they do, you're bound to draw into some responses. Trail of Evidence is even cheaper that lets you investigate when casting instants and sorceries. This makes playing your spells that much better as you can sink unused mana into drawing cards. But if you're more of a creature player, Reconnaissance Mission and Bind of Thassa will let you draw a card each time your creatures deal combat damage. However you decide to run your blue decks, we've got a card that fits into each playstyle. The next color on our list is one that's ready to dethrone blue as the best card drawing color. Green can draw cards in almost any way imaginable, from Sylvan Library to Harmonize, but today I brought some powerful budget cards to open up your options. If you're playing a creature-based deck, which you obviously are, we've got Beast Whisper, Colossal Majesty, Elemental Bond, and Garruk's Uprising. These are commonly known auto-includes that make your green decks pop off and constantly a threat. However, if you're like me and like to cut lands from your deck, you might want to add Abundance and Elfheim Sanctuary to your decks. These cards essentially make it to where we choose if we want to draw a land for turn or not. Abundance specifically allows us to avoid any lands on top of our library to search up for some juice. Fecundity is another powerful enchantment if we're playing any type of deck that likes to sacrifice creatures. Wizards seems to be pushing Golgari Elves hard this season, so it might be best to pick one up. Red is a color that definitely has gotten the most love from Wizards this year, as it got bomb after bomb from Jessica's Will to Wheel of Misfortune. But red has always had a little taste of card draw. Valakut Exploration is just another version of Outpost Siege and Stolen Strategy. All three of these cards are great includes that'll get you deeper into your deck while staying on theme of red's color identity. But one of my favorite cards goes to Humble Defector. It taps to draw you 2 cards, but then you have to give it to an opponent. It nets you 2 cards right away and has the potential to get you even more. Better yet, it's a great way to buddy up in EDH as you can polish up on your politics. It'll have you at Josh Lee Kwai levels in no time. Birgi, God of Storytelling is the most recent printed card on the list, and man, when I say this card is a value machine, I mean it. One side gets you ramped from just playing spells with no drawback, while the other lets you discard a card to see an extra 2 from your library. If you're not picking up a Birgi for your decks, that's just on you. Black is another color that has a wide arsenal of card draw cards that feel like black cards. There are plenty of big hits like Phyrexian Arena and Necropotence to keep your hand full at all times, but those cards are a bit out of range, so we'll have to settle with Greed. Greed is still a very good card, letting you draw for 1 black mana, and if you really want that pay to draw effect, then we also included Argol's Bloodfast. This enchantment does cost 2 to draw a card, but that 30-cent price is just unmatched. But how does not paying any mana to draw sound? Well, we've got you covered with Graveborn Muse, our most expensive card on today's list. It'll net you 1 card for 1 life on your upkeep, but if you're running any other zombies in the deck, this card gets out of hand quickly. And since we're in black, if you're sacrificing creatures, you may want to add in Grim Harrowspex, Midnight Reaper, or Spark Reaper for synergistic forms of draw. Now white is the last color up, and there are not too many cards that let you draw, so I don't get why white can expand on the cards I'm about to mention. Mentor of the Meek is a cool card that most people play when making tokens, but let's take a look at Armistice. It's an enchantment for 3 mana that lets you draw a card for a mere 5 mana. Now yes, this is way overcosted to draw just 1 card, but it's definitely a start. You can use this card in a defensive deck where you hold up mana for potential threats, but if nothing is played, spend your unused mana to cash in on some card draw. Now white is all about life gain, and it's super easy to make a functional deck within the color. That's why Dawn of Hope is our much preferred white drawing card. Whenever you gain life, you can pay 2 mana to draw a card. It even has the second ability to make you a 1/1 token. This card is very similar to the much more powerful Well of Lost Dreams, but both are viable options for any life gain deck. And the last card we have on our list is Convalescent Care. Now this one is tricky, as you need to have 5 or fewer life on your upkeep to draw an extra card. But if you're playing any type of deck that allows you to manipulate your life total in such large ways, this might be a card you want to add in. In general, White's draw, let's say, requires some dedicated deck building, but you might be better off playing utility cards that double up on value, such as a cycling ability. Forsake the Worldly is a great white card because it's exile removal when needed or an extra card when not. Even cards like Restrain can be used to replace themselves upon resolving. But that's all the time we have for this episode of How to EDH. Let me know what you thought of my recommendations or if you have better ones in the comment section below. Remember, if you want to see this series continue, give the video a like and subscribe to Common Command. There will be a TCG player link below with a list of every card mentioned today, so be sure to use it when shopping on the site. And as always, a major thank you to our Patreon. If you'd like to further support Common Command while cashing in on amazing benefits, consider becoming a patron. All links to our socials are also in the description, such as our Twitter and very own Discord server.